If you're over 60 and vitamin D doesn't seem to be helping, there are 5 common reasons why, and all of them are easy to fix. Vitamin D is one of the most recommended supplements for adults over 60, and for good reason. It supports your bones, your immune system, your energy levels, and so much more. But here's what most people don't realize. How you take vitamin D matters just as much as whether you take it. And a few simple adjustments can make the difference between a supplement that sits in your cabinet doing very little and one that actually helps you feel stronger and more energized. Let's walk through these 5 mistakes together, and I'll show you exactly how to fix each one. Now, if you've been taking vitamin D for a while and you're wondering why you don't feel much different, you're definitely not alone. I hear this all the time. People are doing what their doctor suggested. They're taking their supplements consistently. They're trying to take good care of themselves. And yet, the energy boost they hoped for hasn't arrived. Their bones still ache. They're not sure if the vitamin D is doing anything at all. Here's the encouraging news. In most cases, the supplement itself isn't the problem. It's just that there are a few important details that make vitamin D work much better. Details that often don't get explained. Once you understand these 5 common mistakes, you can make small adjustments that help your body actually use the vitamin D you're taking. And I want to be clear from the start, this is general health education, not personal medical advice. Everyone's situation is different, especially if you're managing health conditions or taking medications. So please talk with your doctor before making changes. That's always the wisest approach. But understanding these 5 points can help you have a better conversation with your healthcare provider and get more benefit from a supplement you're already taking. Let's start with mistake number 1, and this one makes a bigger difference than most people realize. Mistake number 1, taking vitamin D without vitamin K2. This is probably the most important adjustment on the list, and it's one that very few people know about. Here's what's happening. When you take vitamin D, one of its main jobs is helping your body absorb calcium from your food. That's a good thing. Calcium is essential for strong bones. But here's the part that often gets missed. Once calcium enters your bloodstream, it needs guidance on where to go. Calcium doesn't automatically find its way to your bones. It just floats around looking for somewhere to settle. Your body wants that calcium in your bones. That's where it does the most good. But without proper direction, calcium can gradually accumulate in places where it's less helpful, like soft tissues. Think of it like a busy intersection with cars coming from all directions. Without a traffic officer directing the flow, those cars might end up going the wrong way or getting stuck in the wrong lanes. Vitamin K2 is like that traffic officer for calcium. When K2 is present, it activates special proteins that guide calcium toward your bones, exactly where you want it. At the same time, it helps keep calcium from accumulating in places it shouldn't be. But when K2 levels are low, and most people over 60 don't get enough from diet alone, that guidance system isn't working as well as it could. The good news is, this is very easy to address. A study in the Journal of Nutrition followed nearly 5,000 people over 7 years and found that those with higher vitamin K2 intake had significantly better outcomes for keeping calcium where it belongs. So, what's the simple fix? If you're taking vitamin D, consider adding vitamin K2 as well. The form that's been studied most is called MK7. A typical amount is 100 to 200 micrograms daily. That's micrograms, not milligrams. A very small amount that can make a meaningful difference. K2 is found naturally in fermented foods like natto and in grass-fed dairy products. But most people don't eat enough of these foods regularly, so a supplement can help fill that gap. The key point is simple. Vitamin D helps calcium get into your bloodstream. Vitamin K2 helps direct that calcium to your bones, where it's most useful. Together, they work as a team. And that teamwork helps you get the full benefit from both. Now, let's move on to mistake number 2. This one explains why some people actually feel worse when they start taking vitamin D. And the fix is just as straightforward. Mistake number 2. Taking vitamin D without enough magnesium. This mistake surprises a lot of people because the symptoms can seem unrelated to vitamin D. Here's what sometimes happens. Someone starts taking vitamin D hoping to feel more energetic. But after a few weeks, they notice muscle cramps at night, or their heart feels like it's fluttering occasionally, or they feel more tired than before. They might think, this supplement doesn't agree with me. But that's usually not what's happening. The real issue is often magnesium. Let me explain with a simple picture. Imagine you buy a beautiful new lamp for your living room. You set it up, plug it in, flip the switch, and nothing happens. You check the outlet. It works fine. The lamp looks perfect. So what's wrong? You look inside and realize there's no light bulb. The lamp is great. The wiring is fine. The electricity is there. But without a light bulb, the lamp can't do its job. Vitamin D is like that lamp. Magnesium is the light bulb. Here's the science in simple terms. The vitamin D you swallow is actually inactive when it enters your body. It needs to be converted into its active form before it can help you. That conversion happens in your liver and kidneys, and it requires specific enzymes. Those enzymes need magnesium to work properly. Without enough magnesium, those enzymes can't do their job efficiently. The vitamin D you're taking can't fully convert into the form your body actually uses. But there's another layer to this. When you take vitamin D, your body works harder to convert it, and that process uses up magnesium. If your magnesium levels were already on the low side, and studies suggest about half of adults don't get enough, this extra demand can tip you into a real shortage. That's when symptoms can appear. Muscle cramps happen because magnesium helps muscles relax after they contract. Heart flutters can occur because magnesium helps maintain steady heart rhythm. Fatigue, restless sleep, feeling on edge, these can all be signs of low magnesium. The simple fix? If you're taking vitamin D, make sure you're also getting adequate magnesium. A general guideline for adults is 300 to 400 milligrams of magnesium daily. The form matters. Magnesium glycinate and magnesium malate are well absorbed and gentle on the stomach. Magnesium oxide, which is in many inexpensive supplements, is poorly absorbed and more likely to cause digestive upset. Take magnesium with food for best absorption. And if you've noticed any of those symptoms after starting vitamin D, don't stop the vitamin D. Try adding magnesium and see if things improve. Give your lamp the light bulb it needs to shine. Now, mistake number 3 is one that frustrates me a bit because it's often caused by outdated information that even some doctors still follow. Mistake number 3, taking vitamin D2 instead of vitamin D3. There are 2 forms of vitamin D you might encounter. Vitamin D2, called ergocalciferol, and vitamin D3, called cholecalciferol. They sound similar, and they're both labeled as vitamin D, but they're not equally effective. Let me paint a picture. Imagine you need to walk outside during a rainstorm. You have 2 raincoat options. The first is a proper waterproof coat. Sturdy material, sealed seams, a good hood. You put it on, walk through the rain, and stay completely dry. The second is a coat made of thin paper. It's shaped like a raincoat, but the moment you step into the rain, it starts falling apart. By the time you reach your destination, you're soaked. Vitamin D3 is the waterproof coat. Vitamin D2 is the paper version. D3 is the form your skin naturally produces when you're in sunlight. It's the form your body recognizes and processes efficiently. When you take D3, your body converts it into active vitamin D smoothly and effectively. D2 comes from plant sources. Your body can use it, but not as efficiently. The conversion is slower, less complete, and the active form doesn't last as long in your system. Research comparing the two shows that D3 is significantly more effective at raising and maintaining healthy vitamin D levels. Some studies suggest nearly twice as effective. So why do some doctors still prescribe D2? Mainly because it's been around longer and it's less expensive to produce. But the science clearly shows D3 works better. The simple fix: check your vitamin D bottle. If it says ergocalciferol or D2, consider switching to D3, cholecalciferol. You don't need a prescription for D3. It's widely available over the counter, it's affordable, and it's the form that gives you the best results. Now, mistake number 4 seems almost too simple to matter, but it can reduce how much vitamin D your body actually absorbs by half or more. Mistake number 4: taking vitamin D without any fat. This one is so straightforward, yet so many people miss it. Vitamin D is what's called fat-soluble. That means it dissolves in fat, not water, and it needs fat present in your digestive system to be absorbed properly. Picture your digestive system like a water slide. Everything you swallow travels down this slide from your mouth through your stomach and into your intestines. Water-soluble vitamins slide right through and get absorbed easily. But fat-soluble vitamins like D are different. They're more like oil, and oil doesn't mix with water. If you take vitamin D with just water or black coffee on an empty stomach, much of it can pass right through without being absorbed. It slides down and out, never making it into your bloodstream where it can help you. But when you take vitamin D with some fat, even a small amount, everything changes. The fat forms tiny droplets in your intestines, and the vitamin D hitches a ride on those droplets, passing through your intestinal wall and into your bloodstream where your body can use it. The simple fix? Always take your vitamin D with a meal or snack that contains some fat. This doesn't have to be complicated. Eggs at breakfast, a handful of nuts, some yogurt, avocado on toast, a splash of cream in your coffee. Even a small amount of fat makes a significant difference in absorption. Don't take your vitamin D first thing in the morning with just water. Take it with food that includes some fat, and you'll actually absorb what you're paying for. Now, the fifth and final mistake is one that affects a huge number of people, and it comes from guidelines that simply haven't kept up with current research. Mistake number 5: taking too little vitamin D. The official recommended daily allowance for vitamin D is 600 IU for adults up to age 70 and 800 IU for adults over 70. These numbers appear on supplement bottles everywhere. Doctors mention them. They're treated as the standard. But here's the thing. These recommendations were designed decades ago, primarily to prevent severe deficiency diseases like rickets. They represent the minimum needed to avoid serious problems, not the amount needed for optimal health and vitality. Think of it this way. Imagine you have an empty swimming pool and you want to fill it. You could use a garden hose and fill it in a reasonable amount of time. Or you could use a teaspoon. Technically, if you kept at it long enough with that teaspoon, you might eventually fill the pool. But it would take forever, and you'd never really get there. Taking 600 or 800 international units of vitamin D when you're starting from a low level is like trying to fill a swimming pool with a teaspoon. It's just not enough to make meaningful progress in a reasonable time frame. Current research suggests that for optimal health, not just avoiding deficiency but actually feeling your best, blood levels of vitamin D should be in the range of 40 to 60 nanograms per milliliter. Most adults over 60 who get tested find their levels are in the 20s or low 30s. That's technically low normal, but far from optimal. To move from 25 to 50 typically requires 3,000 to 5,000 IU daily for several months. That's considerably more than the standard recommendation. Is this safe? For most people, yes. Vitamin D toxicity requires very high doses, typically 10,000 IU or more daily for extended periods, and it develops gradually, so it's easy to monitor with periodic blood tests. The simple fix. If you don't know your vitamin D level, ask your doctor for a blood test. It's called a 25-hydroxy vitamin D test. Once you know where you stand, you can work with your healthcare provider to find the right dose for your situation. Don't assume the amount on a standard bottle is right for you. Know your numbers and adjust accordingly. Let's bring all of this together. 5 common vitamin D mistakes and 5 simple fixes that can help you get much better results. Mistake number 1. Taking vitamin D without vitamin K2. Vitamin D helps you absorb calcium, but K2 directs that calcium to your bones where it belongs. The fix. Add 100 to 200 micrograms of vitamin K2 MK7 form daily. Mistake number 2. Taking vitamin D without adequate magnesium. Vitamin D needs magnesium to convert into its active form. Without enough magnesium, you might experience cramps, fatigue, or heart flutters. The fix. Take 300 to 400 milligrams of magnesium glycinate or malate daily. Mistake number 3. Taking vitamin D2 instead of D3. D2 is less effective and doesn't last as long in your system. The fix. Check your bottle and switch to D3, cholecalciferol, if needed. Mistake number 4. Taking vitamin D without fat. Vitamin D is fat-soluble and needs dietary fat to be absorbed properly. The fix. Always take your vitamin D with a meal or snack that contains some fat. Mistake number 5. Taking too little vitamin D based on outdated guidelines. The standard recommendations may not be enough to reach optimal levels. The fix. Get your blood levels tested and work with your doctor to find the right dose for you. These are small adjustments. None of them are complicated or expensive. But together, they can make a real difference in whether your vitamin D supplement actually helps you feel stronger, more energetic, and more like yourself. That's what this is all about. Small changes that lead to meaningful improvements in how you feel every day. If this information was helpful, I'd love to hear from you. Which of these 5 mistakes surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments. I read every single one and always appreciate hearing what's useful. If you'd like more calm, practical health guidance for your 60s and beyond, please consider subscribing. We share new videos every week. No hype, no fear tactics, just clear information you can actually use. And if you know someone who's been taking vitamin D and wondering why it doesn't seem to help, please share this video with them. Sometimes one small piece of information can make a real difference. Thank you for watching. Take good care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video. This content is for general education and is not medical advice. If you have symptoms or medical conditions, please talk with your clinician.